Welcome to Non Fungible Guys. I'm your host, Devon Codrington. I'm greeted by my trusty co-host,
NFG Ryan on Twitter.
What's NFG up? Ryan on Twitter. And no, it doesn't even matter because more importantly, we have someone pretty special here today. Everybody, welcome to the podcast, Konrad Probst. Konrad is creator or lead NFT person for Properties NFT. You have heard us talk about this this project for quite some time. Forever, 100%. We've talked about this.
September?
Yeah.
When it started? September? October?
Yeah, when we were talking about a lot, waiting for the drop. We talked about the drop on this podcast, and this is a really big day. So, Konrad, tell the people who you are. Introduce yourself, my friend.
First of all, I've been waiting for a long time to end up here, and I'm happy it finally happened. So thanks for having me. My name is Konrad. As Devon already said, I'm the co-founder of Properties NFT, which is a metaverse-focused NFT project. We have a collection of 6,000 NFTs out right now. They basically are collectible cards of metaverse real estate. And we treat them as such. On the metaverse itself, we're currently building on Sandbox and NFT Worlds. And both are in good progress. NFT Worlds was a bit quicker, will be released first. And we will probably go into some other nice metaverses along the way.
Dope. That is cool. I do notice that from the white paper about the hope and the feel that it'll be across multiple metaverses, which is really how metaverses are gonna, I guess, actually be awesome. And people know it as a buzzword right now, but I mean, unless they can be interconnected, like the same thing Chainlink is doing for blockchains, then that's really when the real value is going to come. But
sure. I got to run around in the NFT world on Saturday this weekend. And everything looked freaking amazing. At one point, I'm running around just like, I forgot I was in a fight. I was like, oh, there's Tangerine. Oh, there's this. Oh, let me go check. I was checking everything out. And then
That's cool.
They started hitting me with lightning or something, little bastards. So I was like, I guess I got to go fight.
Yeah, right. So that on Saturday was Proper Games, which is Properties version of the Hunger Games. Yep. Everyone probably knows that movie or has heard of it. Essentially Battle Royale, which happens on NFT Worlds / Minecraft.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a fun experience. I got destroyed by I can't remember who the winner was. Steven, I think it was his name.
Even won.
And then afterwards, he's like, I hadn't played for 4 or 5 years, but before that, I probably had 5,000 hours, and I was like, I would have just been busy that day if I knew that. How do you compete with someone with 5,000 hours?
Is this guy a pilot or something? Like,
and you know that saying, right? 10,000 hours to perfection. So I guess that guy was halfway there, and he was really good.
I think the first round, there was 2 rounds played. I think he had 14 kills the first round. I was like, out of 23 of us, I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I give up. I'm going to go explore, look at the map. And then I got killed right away the second round.
That was the fun part. I think on Twitch, everyone enjoyed, messing with some of the contestants.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, you mentioned like Tangerine, Tinnies. What's that? What's that you're talking about there?
All the different NFTs that you can go explore. There's the cities, the districts, the streets.
Yeah.
What was Orange Oasis is the city. I always get these mixed up. Orange Oasis is the city.
That's correct.
And then I was farting around in what was it? The trailers? It was, what were they called? The Carrot Cove District, Eyesight Road. I was looking into, it was like the circular like tube. And then I saw the TPs running around and the Apricot Alley district, the storage container houses.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like
it was all a mimic of the NFTs that you can own, right? It's just like I didn't see a lot of I didn't get to explore the whole map, but you only had certain ones on that world right now, right? Konrad?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Because I didn't see like Drake's house or like any of the 101 specials or any of that, but I wanted to go run around there. But yeah, no, they had a bunch of the NFTs displayed so you could go run around in them. It was kind of fun.
So, okay, just for context for some people listening, because I know that we always get that feedback. What the hell are you guys talking about? But Konrad, what the hell is Ryan talking about?
Yeah, so all those metaverse buildings that we are creating, they are based on the NFTs, and on the NFTs you would see 3 levels to every building, which would be a street that they belong to, the district that street belongs to, and then the city that district belongs to. And all of them are built on both, cultural inclusivity, but also, economic levels, that are present around the world. I think it was our intention to, include every level of, economic wealth from poverty up to even Mars, which is basically the billionaires playground right now. So for us it felt right to not only go with crazy cool houses. I think everyone can do that, but we wanted to introduce some levels to it, the same way you would know it from the board game Monopoly.
That's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. And I personally, have a spot in Oyster Oceans. Yeah, I've got the tower there, which looks beautiful. But like, I was talking to someone about all of this recently. Actually, talking to someone about real estate and metaverse and all this stuff. And like, just to like say it again, even though we've said it a million times, like people are like, well, what does it mean? And it's like, think of like, and I hate doing this, but maybe you should describe it better, but you can correct me. It's like, think of like, you're like in a video game walking around, but like the arena, the map, whatever. It's the one map for everyone all the time. Everyone's online, and your avatar walks around, except the items like is in the buildings or whatever that you interact with are NFTs that someone can own and port out of the game or connect to other metaverses, which could be seen as other games. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I mean, a metaverse, right? What is it? It's a digital world in which both social interaction can happen the same way you know it from social networks, but also, your activity is more trackable through the blockchain, and, it enables brands to see what sort of merchandise you're wearing, right? There could be models like Wear to Earn, but also for games, right? And I think that's the most prominent example, Play to Earn, and people actually getting rewarded for the time they spend on games. We talked about one person spending 5,000 hours on Minecraft, right? Imagine that guy got actual money for it. I don't know, a few bucks an hour. That suddenly would look completely different. And I think that's the interesting side of it. And that's why it's such an important topic to talk about.
Yeah, good point.
The fun world we're getting into, because I mean, you got the Fortnite, they're all metaverses in a sense. It's just they're not connected to blockchains yet. And eventually, once that all gets there, the gamification of all of it's going to be fun. I mean, you got these kids that are like pro gamers. Well, now they can play their games and earn and hold on to all these weapons and all the crap they unlock and keep in their wallets, right? And then they can sell it and make even more money. You can, like you said, wearables in the metaverse. Now they can walk around with a sponsorship actually on their avatar and get paid to spot. You're a walking billboard at that point. I mean, I hope we don't get to the point where people just start creating metaverses where it's just an overabundance of advertisements. Like I could see that happening where, like a Facebook, like 80% of your vision, like, you know what I mean? Like I always talk about Ready Player One, but it's like the whole point of the bad guys in that movie was trying to take up 80% of your screen with advertisements. So I'm hoping the metaverse doesn't go like that, but people have been talking about that happening. I don't think it will, but you never know, right?
I'm pretty sure we'll see that, sporadically around metaverses here and there. Some spots will be heavily abused for advertising. Yeah. The same way, Times Square is crowded.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, Times Square.
What's the equivalent of the Times Square for properties metaverse iteration? Do you think? Do you have that in mind, or like, are you actually like no ad free? Like,
well, there will be just naturally. I think there will be places that might be in proximity to a special game that people like to play, or some video content that they'd like to consume on a regular basis. They naturally tend to come back. That means there is more foot traffic, and with more foot traffic, advertising becomes substantially more interesting. And those spaces, us as a business, we would be stupid to not take that opportunity.
Right.
However, I strongly agree with you guys. The right amount of advertising is I think the sweet spot here. And yeah.
So I agree. It's got to be controllable in a sense. Like you don't want to go full advertisement, but a little bit. You got to make your money, right? You got to keep the train rolling.
It's true. But Konrad said it here on the Non Fungible Guys podcast that he wants a good balance, and you hold the keys, or at least half of them. So as we build this out, we're gonna hey, you know what, Konrad, just come back on the podcast and we'll be like, hey, how are things going? And we can maybe do this from the equivalent of Times Square. But okay, so I know we keep on talking about this, but like, is there a model for that? Like, we're in the more foot trafficked area, can people that hold NFTs through the properties do stuff like that for their buildings, which are the NFTs? Because I know the ownership model is a bit different, right?
Yeah. So usually the NFT at least on our world, right? And that doesn't mean, worlds or land that people own personally. They are free to place the voxel assets that actually will be airdropped to the holders at some point when Sandbox becomes available to everyone. They can place that themselves as they wish, as they please, and as that might make them money or not, right? And on our world, the NFT is more of a governance token for specific places, right? And people can decide what happens there. And we want to include the community to collab with us there and create something that everyone is proud of in the end. I think that little aspect makes it a lot more complex, but a lot more interesting to us. We want to have that feedback to make sure what we're delivering actually resonates with some people at least. Otherwise, you'd always take the best bet on what you would like, and that might not be the best way to do it.
Interesting. How do you feel people are feeling about it now? Like, I'm excited. Like, look at me here. I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm bouncing in my seat. Like, I got like my tower waiting. I'm also in like, the orange area or whatever. Like, I don't know, is that port pumpkin or whatever it's called? No, not port. I have my little like shed in Mount Mango or whatever. I'm hype. I've got like both sides of the economic scale. So we'll see how that plays out. But I don't know. Do you think people like I guess the ecosystem is going to build, like you said, right? So do you have any plans to like kind of fuel that? Like you said, that the NFT could be kind of governance for the area, right? So what might that look like?
Yeah. I think another interesting thing we're looking into right now, and that actually part of the team is working quite intensively on, is enabling renting. And that would mean that, the owners that collectively share a house would be able to decide on who this gets rented out to, for how much. They essentially dictate the prices and are some sort of union of landlords that is coming together to make some decisions. And for properties, for us, it's about generating foot traffic, generating nice content on the metaverse that not only attracts people but retains them, and create some sort of incentive for them to come back over and over, because that is essentially what will decide who will quote unquote win in the metaverse. Right?
Yeah, for sure. That's the big. I can't wait to see what you guys are doing, because you got tons of collaboration. You guys are doing different clubhouses, and now with the NFTs, do you have to own? So say, I'm trying to remember one of the collaborates, but if you guys have a clubhouse for them, would I be able to get in with just a properties NFT, or would I have to own both parties to be able to say enter their clubhouse?
So the way it works right now on Sandbox is basically that the smallest instance that you can sort of lock and make available, exclusively, maybe with, some sort of entry pass or some sort of wearable that grants you access.
Okay.
That smallest unit is a 1x1 plot, and that is usually in most instances a bit bigger than what a building would be. And so you can't lock doors or rooms right away, but there will maybe be some parts of our land that are exclusive. We're looking into that right now. However, we are preaching inclusivity, and we want to stay that way.
Of course.
Maybe a 1x1 plot where something special happens once in a while is something we're looking into. But overall, the map is accessible for everyone, and
that's cool.
That's the way we want to do it.
That is. I mean, if everyone, it's even like, let's all go in there and have fun, and then down the road, nobody even knows really the utilities of what NFTs can do, because you could end up going, hey, we've got this artist we've signed, and he's going to do, or she's going to do a concert. Yeah. Well, now you can use, like, down the road, I don't know if we're planning on like doing bricks. You can use your bricks towards buying a concert ticket or real life fiat to buy stuff like that. But like, there's so many utilities that we can get down the road that we're not even thinking about some of them. So it's going to be fun. I'm loving the ride already. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. There are so many possibilities, right? So many ways to both create engagement, but also monetize on the metaverse. If we're looking at it from a company perspective, and frankly, right, that also gave us some level of decision fatigue, because you're overwhelmed with choices. What is the best model now? What fits your community, and what might be good right now, but will be totally shit later on. And vice versa, right? What might be wrong at this stage, but as we're approaching mass adoption, some models become significantly more interesting, and that's just the way it is. Currently, we're weighing out those options, and for some, like play to earn, I think the decision is a bit easier. For advertising, I think the big winner will be the one that actually manages to track users on their map and track their behavior, and essentially create the same sort of data that Facebook and the other social media platforms are collecting daily.
Right. Good point. There's a whole new data arena being created right now, because people are not, Sandbox isn't like open per se, so I didn't even think about that, but this is like invaluable. I feel like the next question I want to ask you is probably a better for offline question, because when it comes to data, okay, let me ask you.
It's going to be social media 3.0 or 2.0.
I know, right? Yeah,
however you want to say it. It's going to be the new social media, and data has been king for a while now.
Exactly, right, and that's so okay. King Konrad over here.
And that data is king thing that won't change. I think what will change is the transparency of it, right, and that data is automatically more available to third parties. Usually that data gets, sold at quite a high markup. If you're looking at Facebook advertising, right, they have that data. That data is so valuable, up to, targeting a 38-year-old lady from Minnesota that is into puppy clothing, right? They know that sort of stuff.
That's true.
I think for now we won't see that sort of detail in the data. However, we can more accurately, track actual user behavior based on activity, right? You could be on Facebook, but you're AFK. But you can't be on the metaverse and be registered as active, but actually, be away. Maybe you walk straight all the time because you put some weight on the upper arrow, right? That's a possibility, but that sort of stuff, becomes visible with user behavior on the metaverse, and I think that's interesting, because that opens up all those, word to earn, whatever word you want to put there.
Good point. But I guess that you're right, because I think for a while data will be based on those first movers, the first people. Like if I develop like a clothing company or whatever, and then start giving out wearables or at least have them, then we're tracking that, and like someone looking is going to be like, this is what's hot right now. But it's like, that's because this is the only data vector existing to track in that sense, So, but either way, it's still valuable, and that wins. Okay. Switching from this, which is really, really freaking cool. What are bricks?
So bricks are utility. Bricks, good point, is our utility token, pure utility, not intended to make people money. I think that's something we were sure that we didn't want to create, but it's more fueling our ecosystem, meaning holding the NFT would yield you bricks for certain periods of time. And combining those NFTs into set streets, districts, and cities would then even yield more of those bricks tokens, which you as a holder could exchange for some nice metaverse assets, talking wearables, skins and avatars, any sort of in-game objects, such as weapons, right? But also anything cosmetic, interior, exterior for homes, really anything that also serves as, objects in the real world would apply here.
Damn, that's cool.
Yep, it's gonna be awesome.
I like it. Ryan, are you anticipating having a large amount of bricks?
I'm no whale by any means. I just got an impure street, so there's bonuses for owning. And I just got 7 random property NFTs, so I earn a little bit more bricks. So I'm happy about that.
I love that term, impure street. Like what the hell? It's about diversity, Ryan. It's okay. It's okay to have a messy street. He's shaking his head. He's like, no, leave me alone.
That's also something we wanted to acknowledge, right? Is that a lot of the people in our community are from countries that are not, as far along on the economical development as the United States or any other westernized country is.
Like Canada?
Exactly, Canada. Yeah, you got me. Perfect. No, but apologies to all Canadians.
We say sorry to you. You don't say sorry to us.
This is a Canadian podcast, Konrad. Don't you forget. Also, I'm sorry.
I have a friend in the room next door. He's a big fan of South Park, and they notoriously make a lot of fun of you Canadians.
They shit on us a lot.
Sorry about that. All right, what were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah, so for the pure and impure streets, we wanted to create a way for people to at least collect a street, although they might not be able to afford a pure combination of any of those because of their liquidity at the moment. We thought if they get their hands on 7 cards, so be it, right? They don't need to be the same impure street it is. That's just again trying to be as inclusive as possible in whatever ways we can be.
And you still earn bricks for holding one. So if anyone wants to get in and they're like, I have to have this one NFT, will get you bricks still, and then you build on that, and like everything else, you keep buying up look at the floor and buy it all up.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm checking out OpenSea. I feel like I need to buy more stuff.
Listen,
I always get that.
Leave OpenSea alone, man.
Why? Everything's good. That's a secure site. Everything's great. Nothing bad ever happens there. No exploits. Everything's cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was a fun weekend watching that.
Did you see that?
Dude, I was watching that in real time. That one hacker going crazy. I guess you might have been asleep or partying it up on Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night or Sunday. Did you watch Saturday. It, Konrad?
Yeah. So I didn't try to pay too much mind. I think I can get distracted a lot with stuff like that. One, it drives me crazy. I hate sort of behavior. Second, right, I think the whole Web3 side of things, you're your own custodian, right? You need to make sure that what you hold is secure, that you don't fall for any phishing links, right? And that stuff, we can't lie about it. I think I fell for stuff in the past, not related to blockchain, but giving out my Facebook password as a kid or so, and up to the level of detail that those phishing mails are done right now. I think it's very easy for people to fall for it in the wrong second, and you can't really blame them. But again, right, fair play. People are exploiting it. That's the way it is. There will always be people taking advantage of others around the world, and it's essentially your responsibility if you fall for it. I think not to justify any of those actions, but there's always two people to those things, and that's my stance on it.
100%. It's kind of the Wild West right now, but we've been preaching for the last like 10 episodes about custodial wallets, non-custodial, having one wallet where you do your transactions, and then having a cold storage where you keep your valuables, one hot wallet if you really wanted. But yeah, it's security is a must, and you can't trust anything. You really can't.
Sure. Yes, and that's the crazy part, and that's what I hate so much about it. But that's the way it is, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we'd see some sort of bank service the way we are used to it in Web3 suddenly, and everyone jumps at that because it's so convenient. Would totally defeat the purpose, but I think that's definitely still a viable business model also for Web3.
Yeah, it's coming. It just made me think about, do you guys have to think about, I guess, not spam bots or some kind of security bot for developing a metaverse, like developing your land, or I guess the Sandbox have to kind of do stuff with that? Because we haven't really, because I remember we were laughing, well, not laughing, we were talking about one article where a girl she said she was sexually assaulted on the Meta platform because she was being harassed or whatever. So I'm wondering, someone's got to be developing some kind of security for any kind of metaverse activities too, because like you said, someone's always trying to scam or harm someone.
Look, I think the platforms play a big part in in creating some level of security, and I wouldn't say they're 100% responsible. I think they can't be the same way Facebook isn't responsible for any sort of child abuse or any sort of abuse, really, right? They create a platform for people to chat on, and what happens, right? What they can do is take retrospective action and ban those people if they're reported, but you can't do that sort of background check on everyone that is entering your platform, and especially on the metaverse that will be increasingly complex.
Yeah, no, for sure. Everyone's got to be safe. You got to pay attention to what everyone's doing. You got to, especially kids, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's in Web2, like they're taking to Congress all the time. You know what I mean? But like Web3 and the architecture of it, it's just not possible to have that level of accountability yet, considering all the exploits are still happening, like what we saw on the weekend. Like people are like, OpenSea's got to do something, but like, I think that like anything, there's time that's needed to get to a sense of security, and people will always find exploits. The malicious actors always adopt new technologies first and find the exploits and create what's going to happen. So all right, so I don't know, that's kind of just how it's going to be for a bit. It's a new frontier, and we're going to have to just be vigilant. All right, let's switch on all that stuff for a second. More about Konrad. How did you get started with this? Like, I remember talking to Ryan when we had found this, and I say we had found this, but I didn't find it because I don't find shit. Ryan brings us the projects, and I remember we were looking at this, and we should probably be able to reference previous episodes, but like, we were like, man, this is pretty cool. Where did this come from? You're a co-founder, co-creator. How did you get started in all this?
Yeah, good question. Look, so the true story to it is, I started in crypto in 2016. End of 2017 is when one of our advisors today and we had a little phone call after one of the bigger European art fairs. He was in the art business and was dealing with art for some of his clients. He approached me and he said, you do crypto stuff, right? I said, yeah. He's like, yeah, so you've seen the crypto kitties? I'm like, yeah, I saw a few of them. And, that discussion evolved into us planning out that sort of next Pokemon card trading game on NFTs. Because, back then that was super exciting. And there was no sign of mass market adoption at that time, which, meant for us, we had to stop it. mid of this 2021 year, mid of the pandemic, you had a lot of time on your hands in some instances. And, I got back into NFTs, watching the sidelines for a bit, and we started making some trades. You get addicted to it. I'm sure you guys can relate. I know Devon said, he needs more from OpenSea. That's the feeling, right? That's the sort of FOMO-y frenzy that's going on, right? And for us, then, I had a call with another friend of mine who just sold something, called me in excitement, and I was like, we can't do this trading all the time. It's just it wears you out in ways unimaginable, right? You watch prices of some images fluctuate by thousands a day, and that's not natural, at least not in the world where I came from. And I told him, wouldn't it be great? I had a plan back then. Maybe we can find some sort of collectible game that is interesting, right? And we're all huge board game fans, so we took some inspiration from Monopoly. The collecting mechanism I thought is quite ingenious, and we sort of worked our way of that out, and then iteratively you enter the metaverse with Sandbox, and then NFT Worlds comes up, and new ideas pop off, because that is a whole different playground, and you can test new stuff there, maybe roll out the successful stuff to Sandbox, which is inherently more expensive to build on. But the whole idea wasn't a one day thing, or was here's the idea. It's really something that developed and evolved so much over time, and became so much more interesting. And with all the community feedback, we were able to develop something we're quite frankly very proud of these days, right? And that's as far as I can talk about properties and how that started. So that's my journey, and that's also how properties sort of came to be what it is today. Wow.
Did you we didn't pass him proper did you rehearse that? Is that written? Did you read that? That's a good answer.
He's answered it a lot, I think.
Right? He's just and time. That's how properties came. He just sits back. That's really cool, man. That makes sense. That's pretty awesome. And I think reading the white paper, I was just this is, I find with play to earn, wearables, metaverse, earnings based on holding something, even things that delegate, the game mechanics of it are so friggin' cool. And I've never considered them. I've never considered that there are people that study this and think about maximum excitement, and a lot of the games that are developed consider that. And I think this, the metaverse, NFTs, the ownership of all this has inspired people like you, just a nerd who likes board games.
Just gonna throw that out there, right?
I know, right?
You nerd, you like video games. Such a dick.
to create something.
Oh, you guys didn't tell me we can swear on the podcast.
Fuck yeah, you can. I mean,
easy, Ryan. We're taking that out.
No, you're not.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and
don't worry, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna stay in. But but no, that's really friggin' cool, man. That's actually pretty dope. Yeah, I like it.
All right, Konrad. So you just told us how properties got started. How exhausting is it running an NFT project that's so widely, everyone wants to kind of collab with you guys, and you guys have such a wide range of things you could go with. So how exhausting is it running a project?
Yeah, it can be very exhausting, honestly. And it's frankly something I think from all the podcasts and interviews I've been on, no one has asked. So I'm glad someone is showing that empathy. Thumbs up. But yeah, it is on so many levels. It can be exhausting. And when we all went into this, there's a lot of motivation, getting you up to launch. Really, you work on some superhuman level, which, I know our artist did sessions where, he was still in his day job back then. He quit now, but he would work until 8 in the morning, would go to his day job, and would work until 3 in the morning again before he passed out.
Right.
And same for a lot of the guys. And after launch, you had that big rush of dopamine. And for us, we sold out, I think, within 5 minutes after public launch, which was great because that was relieving. At the same time, you would have loved to soak in that moment for a bit longer and, experience it, because we were so pressed for, all the wrong reasons, meaning, okay, is the minting going smoothly? Okay, can people access the page? Okay. So that guy minted, is that correct? Let's check it, right? Make sure no mistakes. 5 minutes fly by as if it's just a blink. And then suddenly, it's done, but it's not done, right? It's just a start. It's the first milestone. And we worked like maniacs to get to that sellout stage. Luckily that happened. And then afterwards, I think everyone was super exhausted from all the weeks of hard work. You've seen that, right? During Christmas, I think all the guys in our team were a bit more quiet, taking some family time. I didn't see my dog for 4 months, and I was finally able to see that little guy again. Those things are tough because you're sacrificing quite a lot to make sure everything runs smoothly. And that's really the space. You go there, you find a lot of people that expect immediate information about every step of project.
Everything's when everybody.
Can you go to your Amazon and ask what's next for you guys? No, you can't. I'm not saying we're Amazon, but there's some level of direct feedback that is going on, and that sort of becomes the status quo for the expectations of people. And that drives a lot of pressure onto everyone in the team, right? They want to know, is the art side working? Is the tech side working? Is play to earn released when it is released, right? We have a delay with our BRICS token launch now. Those are things they depend largely on humans, and with a lot of those small teams, there is an awful amount of cases. There is one single point of failure. In tech you call that I think the bus number, which is basically how many people in a team need to get hit by a bus for the operation to break down.
Right.
And with a team with headcounts of 6 to 8 people in a lot of instances, at least pre-launch to a few weeks post-launch, that bus number in most instances is 1, and
or half. Or someone having a bad time.
Right. And that's something as a company you want to avoid, but naturally things happen, and a lot of pressure in the space comes just from the community looking for immediate 5x profits, which is unheard of in any other financial market.
Of course.
And if there is no 5x, let me talk to the CEO now, because I want to talk to him now.
Where's Konrad? And start spreading the FUD and everything. It's just crazy.
No, it's interesting. Ryan, dope question. 100% co-host to co-host, hats off. Konrad, we sympathize with you, and we understand what's happening. Essentially, this model is, you're the new entrepreneur, and your visibility is, and you're expected to be available constantly. But also, this entrepreneurship model is flipped on its head. You're not able to develop and work with VC or get your money raised and then pump out an MVP and have a buffer of customer relations. You are announcing and iterating and growing and getting that buy-in all publicly. And it's cool. It's special because you can build community in a way that traditional Web2 or typical entrepreneurship can't necessarily do. But you're not seen as a person. No one cares about Konrad. We care. Non-fungible guys care. But as an entity, you're right. And as the Discord grew, like, we were in the Discord for a while. And then I remember Ryan being like, holy shit, you check out Properties Discord just before mint, and the numbers shot up, and it was kind of wild. And I remember thinking, like, and I hate being on Discord all the time. I think you guys know that, but it's like, it's an inverted model. And I don't think, essentially, there's no real roadmap to how that's being done. Like, whatever you've done, you're a case study that people will probably kind of examine. So yeah, I don't know, man. What's your
that's the feedback I get a lot, which is definitely rewarding. A lot of people that are starting projects are people that I've seen around in our community and other communities that I'm in. Right, as a private person, I'm still roaming around in some Discords every now and then, not as frequently as I used to. I think I probably check out other Discords once a week, if once a week.
I was going to ask that. That was one of my questions. What are you into other than properties?
So I'll be honest. I go the safe route with a lot of blue chips these days. I don't like to take gambles too much. Right, developing a project, you learn some of the mechanics and some of the ways projects, leverage buzzwords and current, hyper trends to really, create hype for a project that is not really, real. Let me call it that way, right?
Or feasible, practical. Yeah.
Like anything like that, right? They might do too much at once. They may promise things that are just not applicable to their project, because they saw that work with something else, right? And they're like, oh, cool, we have all freedom to do that. It's not the case always, and that is something where I got a lot of ideas for how I judge projects now, and with the bigger projects, you just have some certainty that there is always some demand for it. There's always, some certainty that their headcount is big enough to not have a bus number one, right? And you sort of get a feel for what is a good project and what isn't, even if they have great founders or anything. That doesn't mean anything to me. I think we've seen that with Bored Ape Yacht Club coming together with Adidas, and even that didn't out 100% smoothly, right? It was a fairly good launch, but nowhere near to the perfection that I would have expected from two of the biggest brands, Web2 and Web3, coming together to create something collaboratively.
So true. I'm really glad it happened. Actually, when it failed like that, I was just like, it's okay. It just goes to show, right? It just goes to show. Like I was like,
it's another case study, essentially, right?
Yeah, like they got humbled.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And right, hats off to Adidas for being one of the first movers from the bigger brands. Hats off also to Bored Ape Yacht Club to taking a gamble to partner with a Web2 brand of that size. I think that there was some room for backlash. But I'm happy they did it. I'm happy it turned out the way it turned out. Right, everyone is sort of okay after the launch, but it goes to show that even the perfect ones aren't always perfectly executing, and that takes a lot of pressure off us smaller project devs. That also, quite frankly, right, helped me with a lot of conversations with bigger brands, because I'm like, yeah, you sure partner with the big boys, but it's not foolproof either, right? And we might be offering something that is, in its entirety, a better deal than what those big boys are offering you guys. Plus, we executed well for our standards, and those guys the same. So we aren't worse than them in that regard. We're just smaller right now, and
smaller means nimble.
Yeah
it does. I was gonna ask that though, like about picking partnerships, because you guys had a lot of partnerships, and I was gonna like, is there anything that you're just like, instead of people will probably ask like, is there anything that you're like, yeah, this is great, is there anything partnership wise that you looked and you were just like, no, regardless of how good it looks? Like, what was that thing that made you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, these days, right, there is some reputational harm to be expected to partner with anything that could turn out as a rug pull, as something that might not develop anyhow, whether it's intended as a rug pull or not, right? There will be a lot of projects that wake up to a reality of, oh, we don't have the money to deliver that. It's not magically created, right? That there's often, in a lot of instances, if they're creating a game that either ends up as a crappy niche game or takes some significant money to pull it off. And I think there will be very little in between. And those sort of projects, right? We do our fair share of due diligence these days to make sure that what we are showing to our community through whitelist partnerships or, the extensive partnerships that we are in with over 20 projects by now.
There's a lot.
We need to make sure that those projects are at least, not ill-minded from the get-go, that they are, feasible in our point of view. And then, if there's some interpersonal chemistry, usually that is enough for us to create a partnership if we see some synergy that makes sense for both projects. There were also instances where, projects approached us and we were like, you would be great for us, but I think we won't be such a great fit for you guys, right? And being open there, being transparent, I think is important also.
For sure.
I got another question, but Ryan, you got anything?
While we were recording, I just noticed they shared, for anyone that wants to see some sneak peek shots of the NFT worlds and what we've been talking about, go on to the properties Discord. In their properties, the tease section, like the sneak peek section, there's a bunch of stills they just shared and images. So they actually, they look awesome. But anyways, go.
No, that's cool. I like it. I'll dive into for sure. We can throw some of those links up on our Twitter. I guess thinking now, coming out of that and thinking as we get towards the end of the interview, what do you as things go up and down and fluctuate and people, the hype goes down and then it comes back up again. How do you think about that? Like, I know that you feel on a personal level, you understand the mechanics of the company you're working with, but like, what's your vision out here looking like? Gary Vee's like, hey, if you're making an NFT project, you're making a company and your vision should be like 5 to 10 years, or maybe just 10 years is what he said. Definitely. But like, are you phased? Are you chilling and thinking like, I've got a long window? What is, if you can say
chilling.
Anything?
He's always
I know, right? Like he's back in his seat right now. Looks good. But yeah, what's your outlook?
Yeah, look, so first of all, I want to address that pressure part. Am I worried if the floor price goes down, or am I happy if it goes up? Sure, I'm happy if it goes up. Means, a lot more people in the community are probably smiling right now. I think that is a consideration. I'm not completely unfazed by it.
Okay.
So floor price to me doesn't signal as much as people interpret into it. But it's still something that I actively look for. I won't take any artificial measures or any sort of hype measures to create a floor price that frankly shouldn't be. But I'm definitely happy to put it that way. If a floor price does well, that means the people that were believing in the project and were taking their risk on us are at least rewarded in one way or another, right? And that's a great feeling, because I had people that would come up to me and said, sorry, I flipped all the NFTs, but I would now be able to pay off the rest of my student debt. And I'm like, hell yeah. Great play, right? And each to their own. They should do what is best for them financially. I'm not sitting here crying if everyone sells. I'm not going crazy if everyone is buying. I think there's, on both sides, I'm affected, but not up to the ultimate extreme, and that's important. Within the team, right? There's always some voices. Every team call now and then, they're like, yeah, I think floor price is too low. I think a lot of people in the community are scared, this and that, right? And I'm like, guys, please, shut up.
I agree. I've been in the community forever, and I've never seen a sweep the floor. I've never seen it once come from any team member ever. So I'll agree.
So I preach that to the team, right? It's something we won't do ever. There were surely some discussions around, ways to increase the floor price, but usually I just stop them when they come up. One, because that's not my style, and I don't want my team members to think that's any style to go by. It's deception for me. If you'd go up to the extreme to raise the floor price, that shouldn't be there, right? And there's tons of ways to do that. right? You could just outright lie. I think these days you wouldn't get into too much trouble with that, but we won't do that. It's not honest. It's not ethical. It's nothing anywhere close to it. And for me, right, how do I feel about it? It's something where I tell the team, guys, you know best what we are developing. You know best what is working and what doesn't, right? And put that into some relation to all the other projects that you're personally invested in, and then tell me, right, is that a okay floor price, right? They were saying, okay, 0.1 right now doesn't look too good. I'm like, yes, but right now there's not a lot to properties. Why would it look good, right?
Yeah.
If we roll out this feature, or that metaverse world opens and people have fun, then there's a real reason to have a good floor price, and then you can raise that point again, hopefully. But I would argue that we know what we're doing. We know what sort of value that is creating. We won't be the new Instagram, but we will take our potential and make the best out of it, and that's important. And that that sort of confidence is what I walk around with usually, because I reasonably know what we can deliver and what we can't. And there might be things that we can't do right now, but that given a certain level of funding, suddenly become very viable business models and very viable options to reward the community in new ways. But in some instances that takes time, and I'm willing to have that patience, because we're all building at the same time. There is competition, and we are aware of that competition, and we want to compete. We are competitive, right? And I think it's cool to be competitive, and it's cool to be collaborative, and we're taking both stances here, and that's, I think, a very nice play of forces that is always weighing each other out.
Agreed, 100%. Competition means you've got a good idea.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah, definitely. And floor price, I don't watch, just because I don't know, we've got our properties and there's intrinsic value that I believe in down the road that makes more sense. And not just saying that because you're on the podcast you gave that, like, it's not, I would say that to regardless of what you said, so
look, two things here really. One, I would never be offended by anyone selling, right? And that's really my stance, right? I think no NFT out here is really meant to be held forever. Essentially you would end up with a lot of illiquid cash hidden in an image, in a video, GIF, whatever. That's not the way it should be, right? It's about that value that NFT has to others, and at some point that monetary value that is currently associated with the NFT may or may not be above what you would value that utility that is tied to the NFT, and then that's a good point to sell. And I think very rarely we will see NFTs that are good forever investments, really, right? So that's a big point. The other point I want to touch upon is competition, and there's a great talk by Peter Thiel from PayPal.
Palantir.
Palantir. Thank you. I was lacking that one.
That was the new one. Yeah, it's all right. It's all good. Yeah.
Great company, by the way. But Peter Thiel, he said, competition is for losers, and that's a cool statement to do, because frankly, right, if you are in a very competitive market, you find monopolies, right? The way that Facebook is a monopoly in itself, or Meta, whatever we want to call it right now.
the enemy.
and they would never say we're a monopoly, right? Because that would bring them under the scope of a lot of the regulators. And the ones that are in heavy competition and in environments where it's so competitive that products might even end up as a commodity, they will go out of their way to say we have a monopoly. Well, in fact, they don't. And I think that's interesting force, because the real winners will be the ones, that establish themselves in a way that there is, frankly, very little competition. And I think that doesn't perfectly apply to properties. I think we are in a space that will be increasingly competitive. But we are looking for ways to make sure that we might end up in a position where, for that little niche we end up in, we can claim a monopoly, and I hope that happens. Mm-hmm. For now, we will need more financial means and a bigger team to pull off anything that comes remotely close if we have an idea.
Yeah, good point. But I mean, and considering, I guess we're banking on Sandbox too. Considering some of the names that are in Sandbox, that positions you well. I know that you guys have that. Well, the plots for the properties to be on. So in any event, that does carve out a pretty special spot that I think will always yield some sort of something. So that's pretty cool. Pretty dope. Yeah.
That also brings me to the point, right? We are hiring. We look for people, right? And I think today or yesterday we opened a job board. A little wink here for everyone who's listening, right? Make sure to check that out. It's on Twitter, it's on Discord, wherever you want to find it, you can find it. There are a ton of positions. You don't need to be a Solidity dev to join the team and have a career in Web3. If you're good, tell us. Right? If you're not, please don't approach us. No.
Quit your job in Web2 to work in Web3. But
Here
please be good. Be ready.
Retweeted and liked.
And the coolest thing is, I think, voxel architects, because a lot of interviews and calls we had are with actual architects that studied this for years, that worked in the field for years, and that said, all of them basically said, "I'm tired of physics." And I'm like, "What? What does that even mean?" And
amazing.
They're like, all the architecture, there's so much, physical knowledge in there. You need to watch for the smallest details, otherwise the house won't work out. On the metaverse, we can just be creative. We can have fun with what we want to design architecturally.
Just have a wing like shooting out from the third floor. Don't worry about physics. It'll support itself. Yeah, that's really cool. Really, really cool. I think we're coming towards the end of our interview here. I say interview, sorry, podcast episode.
It's supposed to be fun. This isn't.
And I had a lot of fun, guys.
It's not an interview, right? But Konrad, this is dope. I'm so excited about everything, and I've read the white paper a number of times. I love the mechanics. I love the concept. Competition is for suckers. It's for losers. Read anyone that's listening, read The Infinite Game. I'm pretty sure Konrad knows that book. If he doesn't, he's nodding. He knows it. Ryan,
I don't know it.
It's okay,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Lambo. That's it. When Lambo.
When
that's all
Lambo?
I care about.
Okay, don't worry. We can voxel up a Lambo for you for sure. Give you
Perfect.
a white Countach.
Pardon?
Yeah, man. Don't you dare! Don't you dare, Ryan.
How am I gonna do it?
You keep it PG.
That's a good Kanye West intro, right?
Right. Yeah, so true. But Konrad, do you want to give your whole where can they find you? Where can they not find you?
Sure. Let me plug that. At Konrad Probst is very easy. Konrad with a K, Onrad Probst for the last name. I'm doxed. I'm walking around doxed. It's a podcast. You won't see me, but every now and then I appear on YouTube or somewhere else.
Dope.
Happy to get in touch with anyone who wants to. If you have any questions or launching a project, happy to give some feedback always.
That's pretty amazing. That's
Yes,
amazing.
it is.
All right. Dope.
Thank you for coming on, buddy.
Hey guys, honestly, I was looking forward to this. I know Ryan and I talked a bit, in the earlier days of the project, and there was already a discussion. Now it happened. I'm very happy it happened.
It took a while, but we're here.
And with you guys, it's supernatural. So I'm very grateful that you made that a fun experience. Awesome. Honestly, next to Rock Radio, my favorite podcast in the NFT space, and I'm not doing that to kiss your asses. I wouldn't.
You can. It's okay. You can kiss our ass.
They're too
Just a
hairy,
little bit.
man. Too hairy, and that's awkward.
That's
I'll be back.
hilarious.
Let me go shave it.
Oh my god! Right? Why? That's how we end this? Jesus!
Oh yeah, I told you I will destroy this at some point.
That's hilarious.
I'm
That's
glad that
hilarious.
this happened now.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
All right, guys, give us a like, follow Properties NFT, follow Konrad. They have a link tree. Go check them out. They're also on Instagram, Medium to find the white paper, and yeah, that's all I got.
You got everything. Thank you again.
He did a better job than me. I'm ashamed.
So not a chance. We'll drop all that in the show notes, and their pinned tweet is there. They are hiring. It's pretty important.
Start the music, Devon.
All right, let's do it.
All right,
NFGs.
thank you, everyone. NFGs, we are out.